Hi StudyMates, welcome back to Let's Study IELTS program. I'm Victoria and today we're going to learn about using linking words and fillers. Let's make this fun and easy to understand. Okay, now before we start, let me introduce myself. Hi everyone, I'm your tutor, Victoria Wijaya. And these are my experiences and achievements to prove that I'm qualified to teach you guys. First of all, I got an IELTS Band 8 and I won first place in 2 English competitions. Okay, so these are the materials that we're going to learn today. Okay, jadi what are linking words and fillers? When do you use them? Useful grammar, example, practice, and tips. So without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, jadi what are linking words and fillers? Linking words are used to organize your speech, while fillers are used to buy time and sound more natural. Jadi, so what's the purpose of each of them? Linking words connect ideas and give structure to your response, while fillers give you time to think without breaking your fluency. Basically, it makes your speech sound more natural. Jadi, misalnya, for an example of linking words is, first of all, I like to explain my motivation for joining. Moreover, I believe my previous experiences have prepared me well. Jadi, first of all and moreover are linking words that help connect these sentences together. An example of fillers is, well, I probably say my most memorable trip was to Bali. It was amazing because of the beaches and, the people were really friendly. Well, and are fillers that give you time to think. Okay, now ke materi. Before we start, it's important to know that linking words and fillers are used to buy time when you don't know what to answer. So instead of saying, uh, or pausing too long, this can buy time and gives a smooth transition between your sentences. Okay, jadi ini contohnya. So, example of linking words is to add information, like also, in addition, besides, moreover. Okay. Oh, in addition to that information, I want to add that blah, blah, blah. It's also used to give examples, for example, for instance, such as, it can also be used to contrast ideas, atau, ide-ide yang beda. However, on the other hand, but, whereas, it can also be used to give reasons, because, since, as, due to, transitioning ideas, first of all, then after that, finally. Jadi misalnya, well, first of all, this happened, and then, blah, blah, blah. Misalnya kayak gitu. Can also be used to give opinion. In my opinion, I believe, I think that, clarifying and rephrasing. I mean, in other words, to put it simply. Jadi sebenarnya kalian gak harus hafal semua ini. Kalian cuma harus kayak menggunakan satu atau dua. Tapi yang penting itu, kalau misalnya mau kasih contoh, jangan menggunakan satu itu kelebihan. Misalnya, jangan use for example terus. Bisa diganti-ganti juga. For example, for instance. Kalau pakai satu linking word lebih dari sekali itu boleh, tapi jangan berlebihan juga. Okay, now on to fillers. Fillers is used when you're searching for ideas, so don't stay silent. Well, let me think for a moment. That's a really good question. Can, add a conversational tone, but again, don't overuse it in every sentence. Well, my opinion is that blah, blah, blah. Actually, to be honest, it also makes opinion sound less forceful and more polite. Well, I guess what you say is kind of right. I suppose so. Jadi seperti itu. Now, this is an example of using linking words and fillers. Describe a hobby you enjoy in your free time. Well, to be honest, this adds kayak a conversational tone atau your personal opinion. I have several hobbies, but the ones that I enjoy the most is probably painting. You know, again, it adds a conversational tone kan. I started painting when I was in high school, and since then it has become a way for me to relax and express my creativity. Sebenarnya ini, well, to be honest, it's also a way to mulai your sentence. Terus, actually, again, it starts your sentence and gives a casual tone. I usually paint landscapes because I love nature and it gives me a sense of peace. For instance, contoh ya. Last weekend, I painted a sunset view of the beach, which turned out quite well. Moreover, digunakan buat menambahkan informasi. Apa? Okay, so moreover is used buat menambahkan informasi. Moreover, painting helps me improve my focus and patience, which are skills that are useful in other areas of my life too. On the other hand, itu memberikan informasi yang kontras atau informasi yang berbeda. Jadi when it says, oh, painting helps me improve my focus and patience, kan hal yang bagus, positif. On the other hand, painting can be a bit time consuming, so I don't get to do it every day. However, again, another contrasting opinion, beda. So the first part is positive, right? And then ini bagian ini negative. However, whenever I have free time, I try to grab my brushes and paint something small. Jadi ini menambahkan hal yang positif. Overall, again, ini tuh bagian konklusi. I think painting is a wonderful hobby because it not only allows me to be creative, but also helps me relieve stress. Jadi penting untuk kalian mengerti linking words and fillers apa digunakan dalam konteks apa biar make sense dalam pengomongan kalian. Ini yang tadi aku bahas. Okay, now compare the first one to this. First of all, I would like to talk about my favorite hobby, which is reading. Moreover, reading is a very beneficial activity. In addition to that, it helps me improve my vocabulary. For example, I learn new words from novels. Furthermore, I can relax while reading. On the other hand, sometimes it's hard to find time to read. However, I still try to read every day. Therefore, I believe reading is important. Overall, that's why I enjoy reading. Or this. I like to talk about my favorite hobby, which is reading. It's a great way to relax and also improve my vocabulary. For instance, I often learn new words from novels. Sometimes it's hard to find time to read, but I still try to read every day. Overall, I think reading is a really beneficial hobby. Jadi menurut kalian, paragraf yang lebih bagus itu yang mana? Nah, paragraf yang lebih bagus itu tentu saja paragraf yang kedua. Karena paragraf yang pertama overuse linking words and fillers. Jadi walaupun kelihatannya lebih panjang, sebenarnya it ends up sounding unnatural, even though the purpose of linking words and fillers is to make your speech sound more natural. Jadi okay, let's analyze again. First of all, I would like to talk about my favorite hobby, which is reading. Moreover, it's not a good use, karena moreover itu digunakan buat menambahkan informasi kan. Tapi reading is a very beneficial activity itu menambahkan informasi baru. Jadi seharusnya linking words yang bisa digunakan itu misalnya, for me, reading is a very beneficial activity. Soalnya moreover itu nggak cocok. In addition to that, it helps me improve my vocabulary. Nah, ini benar karena emang menambahkan informasi. For example, I learn new words from novels. Furthermore, I can relax while reading. Nah, furthermore, sebenarnya juga nggak usah digunakan. Soalnya sekarang linking words udah digunakan kebanyakan. Jadi, for example, I learn new words from novels. I can also relax while reading. It sounds more natural, kan? On the other hand, sometimes it's hard to find time to read. However, I still try to read every day. Nah, ini therefore juga nggak usah digunakan. Soalnya, therefore digunakan untuk memberi kayak konklusi kan. Dan ini udah ada konklusi yaitu overall. Jadi seharusnya therefore nggak digunakan dalam konteks ini. Okay, now on to the do's and don'ts. Jadi, apa do's and don'ts of linking words and fillers? First of all, use a variety of linking words. Jadi, kalian harus menggunakan linking words yang jangan hafal-hafal juga tuh menggunakan kebanyakan. Yang penting 1-2 aja yang kalian bisa ganti-ganti. Do use fillers sparingly to sound natural. Do match the context, yeah, on when you use the linking word or fillers, and practice so you guys actually understand and not just memorize the linking words and fillers. Don't use too formal linking words. Don't force linking words atau menggunakan kebanyakan. Jangan overuse fillers and don't repeat the same link over and over again. Now on to practice. Okay, you guys can pause the video and try to answer yourself. Okay. Now for number 1. You are asked about a favorite place. After describing the location, you want to introduce a contrasting point. Now, moreover is used to, add information, to be honest, kayak it adds sincerity atau your own opinion. In conclusion is used for summarizing. Sedangkan on the other hand, emang digunakan buat contrasting points. Jadi D itu benar. Oke, jadi sekarang untuk nomor 2. You are describing a hobby and want to emphasize that it's a personal preference. Okay, jadi moreover, again, it's used to add information. In my opinion, is used to emphasize atau, to show personal preference atau opini sendiri. Jadi, B itu benar. C itu, for instance, contoh. Therefore, itu konklusi. Jadi, B itu benar. Okay, now for number 3 and 4. 3. You're asked in part 1, do you enjoy cooking? Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? Well, I enjoy cooking because, on the other hand, it's really relaxing and fun. The use of on the other hand, yaitu contrasting opinion, itu gak benar, jadi salah. B. Well, I say I enjoy cooking, mainly because it's relaxing. And also, it gives me a chance to try new recipes. Nah, the words well, to sound natural, because, to, combine and give reasoning, and also to add information itu benar. Jadi B itu benar. C, to be honest, I enjoy cooking. Therefore, it's relaxing and lets me try new recipes. Therefore, is used to kayak show conclusion. Tapi ini kan subject to introduce reasons. Jadi, ya itu salah. D, actually, I like cooking because in conclusion, it's healthy. Again, D itu salah karena ini kan digunakan untuk introduce information, bukan untuk conclude. Sekarang ke nomor 4. You're asked in part 2. Describe a place you'd like to visit in the future. Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? Well, I've always wanted to visit Japan because, for one thing, the culture is fascinating and also the food is amazing. Again, the use of fillers is correct. Well, I want to visit Japan because, on the other hand, the culture is fascinating and the food is delicious. B itu salah karena on the other hand is used to contrast, padahal ini kan mau introduce idea. C. To be honest, visiting Japan is my dream because, in conclusion, it has a fascinating culture. Again, the use of conclusion atau summary itu salah. Padahal ini kan seharusnya introduksi kan. D. Actually, I like to visit Japan because, therefore, it has great food and culture. Again, the use of therefore itu salah. Okay, now part 2, 5 and 6. Now, you're asked in part 2, describe a hobby you enjoy. Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? A. Well, one hobby I really enjoy is painting, mainly because it's relaxing. And besides, again, add information, it allows me to express myself creatively. For example, contoh, last weekend I painted a landscape for my trip. Jadi A itu benar. B. Painting is my hobby. And while, moreover, it is relaxing and creative. Moreover is used to add information, padahal ini kan mau introduce, jadi salah. C. To be honest, painting is my hobby because, for example, it helps me relax. Again, for example, is used to tambahkan contoh, padahal ini kan nggak menambahkan contoh sama sekali, jadi salah. Actually, painting is my hobby since, on the other hand, it is relaxing and creative. On the other hand, digunakan untuk kontras, tapi gak ada kontras, jadi salah. Untuk nomor 6, you're asked in part 2, describe a person who inspires you. Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? Well, I have to say my grandmother, mainly because she's incredibly hardworking, and therefore she has a way of staying positive even in difficult situations. Now, the use of therefore here is incorrect because it's not a conclusion. Jadi, A itu salah. B. My grandmother inspires me because, in conclusion, she's hardworking and stays positive. Again, the use of summary itu salah. C. Well, the person who inspires me the most is my grandmother, partly because she's so resilient and also because she's always looking for solutions instead of giving up. The use of partly because and also, which is to add information to benar, then well as a beginning filler is also correct. Jadi, C itu benar. D. Honestly, my grandmother inspires me. Therefore, she always works hard and keeps smiling. Therefore, kayak shows conclusion atau cause and effect. Padahal gak benar, jadi salah. Okay, now for number 7 and 8. Seven. You're asked in part 1, do you enjoy cooking? Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? A. Well, I guess I do, mainly because it's relaxing after a long day. And besides, it gives me a chance to be creative with flavors. For instance, last week I tried to make Thai green curry from scratch and it turned out better than I expected. Okay, so now to questions 7 and 8. Nah, untuk pertanyaan nomor 7. Okay, now on to question 7. You're asked in part 1, Do you enjoy cooking? Which answer uses linking words and flows correctly? Well, I guess I do. Mainly because, well, other than that, it's relaxing after a long day. And besides, it gives me a chance to be creative with flavors. For instance, maybe the problem with A is that it uses too much linking words. And the use of other than that, itu salah. Jadi, itu salah. B, I like cooking because it is relaxing and creative. It's too short. Jadi, no fillers or lacking in variety. C, cooking is enjoyable as it relaxes and lets me be creative. Again, way too short. D, I really enjoy cooking, partly because it helps me unwind after work, but also because I love experimenting with different cuisines. For example, this one is correct because the use of cooking words and fillers itu benar. Okay, now on to question 8. You're asked in part 2, describe a memorable trip you had. Which answer uses linking words and fillers correctly? Well, I probably talk about my trip to Bali, mainly because the beaches were amazing. And well, other than that, to be honest, the people were friendly. The use of well, other than that, itu salah because it interrupts the speech that was natural tadi. B. My trip to Bali was memorable, therefore, of the beaches and friendly people. The use of therefore, yaitu cause and effect atau conclusion itu salah. C. Well, my most memorable trip was to Bali, mainly because of its breathtaking beaches and also because of the warmth of the locals. For instance, a family I met there invited me to their home for dinner. Again, the use of well, mainly because, also because, for instance, itu benar. Jadi, si itu benar. Honestly, my trip to Bali was great, but I like the beaches and friendly people. Harusnya ini and bukan but, jadi salah. Okay, now to question 9. Your lesson part 1. Do you enjoy exercising? A. Well, yes, I do, mainly because it's good for my health. And besides, it keeps my energy levels high. But on the other hand, it can be tiring sometimes. Now, for A, the use of on the other hand itu ya nggak begitu benar, jadi salah. B, I like exercising because therefore it's healthy. The use of therefore yang sebenarnya cause and effect itu salah, jadi salah. C, exercising is good for health and fitness. On the other hand, it also keeps me active. On the other hand itu nggak usah. Soalnya ini kan introduction, jadi ini bukan menambahkan informasi. D, frankly speaking, I enjoy exercising, particularly because it helps me stay physically fit and also because it improves my mood. For example, I often feel more focused to take my day. Nah, the use of linking written fillers to kayak on casual and to add information sama tambah contoh itu benar. Jadi dia itu benar. Okay, now for number 10. You asked in part 1, do you enjoy meeting new people and can you share an experience where meeting someone new had a positive impact on you? Yes, I do. Therefore, again, the use of therefore is salah. Jadi A itu salah. B, I enjoy it because it's a chance to exchange new ideas and share experiences. In conclusion, during a school project, I met someone. In conclusion, it's wrong because this is supposed to explain something, bukan memberikan summary atau conclusion. Jadi B itu salah. C, I like meeting people because it sometimes leads to new friendships. On the other hand, I met a new student from another country and we've been exchanging letters and cultural stories ever since. Jadi, on the other hand, here itu kontras. Padahal ini berdua kan positif. Jadi, C itu salah. D. Yes, blah, blah, blah. And also because, for example, I met someone, get all of the use of linking words and fillers itu benar. Jadi, dia itu benar. Okay, so what are the key main takeaways and tips? Understand the proper context on when to use linking words and fillers. Use fillers to buy time instead of long pauses. And don't overuse linking words and fillers. Now, the action plan is from your daily practice of IELTS speaking 1 and 2. Watch back on the footage and analyze if how you speak sounds natural and how many linking words and fillers you use, or if they are too repetitive atau kamu menggunakan yang sama terus. Okay, guys. Thank you, yeah. Great job. That's it for this video. Keep up the practice and remember that staying consistent makes all the difference. You've got this all. See you in the next lesson, StudyMates. And also, terima kasih ya kepada donatur LetStudy buat kesempatan ini. Dan kalian bisa berdonasi menggunakan QR ini. Thank you all.